Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Morgellons Call of the Week. It is Sunday, April 11th, 2021, and I am Robin from Western Mass. I'm so glad to be here. So, as many of you know, I struggled for all 3.5 years with Morgellons and the vectors that bring Morgellons into people's lives: fleas, mites, springtails, bed bugs, all of those. And I was ready to burn my house down. I had thrown away half of my furniture, and you know, through prayer and counseling, I found, well, my pastors prayed for me to find creative solutions, and the next day I found Richard's book, This Call, and started to turn my life around and get my life back. And it's been a challenging journey. It's not easy, but it works if you work it. And I'm so grateful for Richard and this call and this book. You know, we have gone through trying times, and we're here to support one another and encourage one another. So I encourage you to keep coming back. Richard, he really cares. He really cares, and he is on the 11th edition of his book. The 10th one is fantastic. But as he keeps learning and updating, he releases new additions to the book. So, and part of that is us as his research team. He's available for people to email questions daily if they needed to. The book has the diet which he found, which literally helps starve parasites because it deprives them of the sugar and cortisol that they thrive on in your body. And the book can be a free download. The diet is a free download. He's here on this call to give you great information, answer questions every Sunday. I am so honored to be his co-host, and so at this point I just want to introduce you guys. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Robin, for that wonderful introduction. It's a pleasure for me to be here every Sunday. It's a testament that life goes on. If I weren't here, there would be no life going on for me, as unfortunately one of our people will talk about Diane shortly. But our goal is to bring the isolation and the depression and the anger and the frustrations that we all go through to this call and turn them into a call to action instead of being swamped by those feelings, or instead of being at the effect of those feelings, so that one day you may write Robin or me or Ethel and say, because of you guys, I stuck with it and I got my life back. As Robin noted earlier, it's not an easy path. It takes endurance, it takes creativity, it takes stick-to-itiveness. It takes the ability to fall down, get up, and go on again, and stick with it. Before I do forget, I just want to give the disclaimers that the government requires, the FDA and the AMA, so I don't, and this time the Psychological Association, the APA. None of us are here to cure, mitigate, treat, diagnose any disease or skin disorder. Before you accept any of our recommendations, the FDA requires me to tell you that before you accept a diet or any of our recommendations, that you discuss them thoroughly with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems you're presently experiencing. This subject this week is going to be about depression. It's going to be an extended aspect of stress. Stress is depressive in this case. That likewise, I am not here to cure, treat, or mitigate depression. I'm here to educate. That's what we're allowed to do. We're allowed to educate you how to clean them out of your body, how to utilize the diet, how to clean them out of your skin, the organisms that have infected and infested you, how to clean them out of your environment. And when it comes to the subject of depression, here to educate you how to talk to yourself. Self-talk, cognitive reshifting, that means thinking, the way you think. You know, gosh, it's a long time ago, back in the 70s, I believe, or 80s, Dr. Kenneth Pelletier wrote a book, the title of which says it all. Mind as Healer, Mind as Slayer. Your mind is incredibly powerful. It's a tool. And you know what? It doesn't give a crap how you use it. Even though it's your mind, it doesn't give a crap how you use it. You can use it to destroy yourself, or you can use it to build health and vitality and support others. It's all up to you. But there is one caveat, and it's important to know how to command the mind. This is something we don't get educated in. There are very few people who understand the emotional connection and how to deal with emotions. Emotions are primitive. I mean, there were emotions before there was speech. That's how primitive they are. And so we've never learned the cognitive aspect of how to deal and merge the emotion with the intellectual aspect. That's only through training and through revelation. This program today I want to devote to Diane Shannon of South Africa.
Huh?
You may have read some of her updates. She was our technical writer for our blog. She, about a year ago, she was, contributing a lot of articles. Young lady in her 30s, had a lot to live for. Only problem was she was in South Africa. Not that being in the United States is much better when it comes to Morgellons, but she was in South Africa, which did not help her at all. And Morgellons not only brought on this tremendous disease in her life to the point where she lost her job and work and basically homeless except for depending on a couple of friends to live either in this place or that place. And neither place was healthy for her. She either couldn't control the environment or the environment was not friendly to her. So she was basically almost a homeless person depending on a friend or two to lend her a place to put her head. And she could not find any of the, she couldn't get anything close to the debriding soap in South Africa. She couldn't find anything there that, I mean, she was trying the super potassium iodide approach and some other things and was getting nowhere. As part of the, we attempted to send her materials, debriding soap and some supplements that she was in great need of. It was like a month and a half, almost a month after we mailed them, that the South African customs denied them and sent them back to us. I mean, they were sitting in customs there for almost a month. So she couldn't get the supplies. We were talking about routing them around through maybe Scotland or something. And then I got the news yesterday from a friend of hers that she, couldn't take it anymore and ended her life. She's not the first, and she won't be the last. We hope she's in a better place now without the constant pain and agony and itching and symptoms that many of us experience on a daily basis. I just want to take a moment of silence. All right, let's jump into this thing called depression. I doubt that there's anybody on the call who hasn't touched or almost caused them to end their lives as well. It's something I certainly contemplated many years ago. And can appreciate anybody who goes through the misery of these symptoms and the relentless trips to the doctors and getting no results and no test and no acknowledgement. So how else can anybody react but to be depressed because of circumstances beyond our sphere of influence, beyond our control, limiting for one reason or another our ability to either find help, get help, and even when you do get help, even be able to do the diet, be in a space where you can do the diet and have control of your own food that you eat. So depression, where does it come from? Well, this is kind of true for all emotions. Where do all emotions come from? I mean, we have a guy driving down the street, for instance. He's managing his own business. Car pulls out in front of him. He swerves and misses the accident. And he's happy. Man, he almost got T-boned and he missed the accident and he's happy as hell. We have another guy driving down the street. Same automobile, kind of, same speed, everything. Car pulls out in front of him, almost T-bones him. And he is really angry. He's really upset. These damn people don't know how to drive, Where'd they get their license? Sears and Roebuck? Of course, Sears and Roebuck is no more, thanks to some politics. But anyway, so why is one guy happy and the other guy, his blood pressure goes up and his whole day is ruined because of this event? You know the guy. I'm sure many of you know him. And, not a lot of us know the happy guy. Well, what determines how you feel in response to anything? Answer is either. Answer is, if things work out the way you want them to, you're happy, or you feel good, or, you know, you're on this side. You got this emotional level. Energy. It's all energy. Energy. Energy, what drives the universe. Energy is what drives every solid and unsolid thing. Energy. If things don't work out the way you want to, well, there's a lower set of energy. So what's this got to do with these two guys? Well, the first guy had taken a course in defensive driving. Yeah, he took a course in defensive driving, and part of that course is what do you do if somebody pulls out in front of you, and he put it into action, and he was happy because he put his training into action, and it turned out the way he wanted it to. Well, the second guy, you know, he expected that people are supposed to stay where they belong, not to interfere with his life, his approach to life, or his goals, or traveling down the street. And he is rightfully angry and upset because that's his training. He is justified in his feelings. And he's the guy who, you know, you want to avoid on the street because he probably has road rage in his soul. So emotions are a result. Now, believe me, if any psychologist is listening to this, they'll probably, don't listen to that loony bin guy. I mean, he's full of it. I've had 15 years of advanced psychiatry and psychological training, and it's not the way he says it is. In fact, Tony Robbins, one of the greatest gurus of ever in terms of success, getting people to walk on hot coals, and the amount of dollars, if you want to measure success by that, the amount of income he's brought in. He's got a whole 60-minute CD about where emotions come from. It's like when you have an emotion, you're supposed to sit down and analyze it. You know, okay, I'm feeling angry now. I should sit down and analyze it. Now, let me go back into my, was it the third grade teacher that beat me on the fingers with a ruler, or was it when my dog bit me, or you know, oh, come on, Tony. Emotions are like that. You don't have time to sit and analyze them. No way. They're boom, just like that, driving down the street, boom. You don't get to sit and analyze why you reacted. It's trained. So when things work out the way we want them to, it's this simple. We feel happy, we feel excited, we feel glad, we feel loved, we feel appreciated, we feel joy. When things do not work out the way we'd like them to, we feel down, lonely, bored, depressed, upset, angry, and the list goes on. They're all energy levels, you know. Most of them are, maybe there's a break point here. When you're above it, you're into what we call positive energy, and when we're below it, we call negative energy, but they're just different energy levels, and they don't care what we call them. An analogy I like to use is sometimes imagine that these energy levels, like for instance anger or say depression, imagine them having caricatures, create a picture of them in your imagination of what they look like. And when you catch yourself in this state of being, and when you catch yourself in the state of feeling depressed, imagine them trying to pull strings over you, trying to control you, because that's what they're doing. Yeah, you're allowing them control, But what causes it? Well, it all goes back to what happened in the first place, So the guy driving down the street, and the car pulls out in front of him, and he's happy. He's happy because he had training that he would respond correctly and avoid the accident, and he's happy. So if you can't let it be, this is the Beatles song of the 60s, if you can't let it be. If you can't let it be that something worked out the way you liked it to, and I'm not saying you shouldn't, it's good to let things be. You've got to be happy. If you can't let it be that you're having a good time, you're going to be joyous. Fine, great. If you can't let it be that somebody tried to cut you off, well, then you're going to be angry and upset. So we are at the effect of things that happen to us based on our previous training. We're basically a computer. It's a series of switches that go off in our brain. It almost sounds like we have no control, and the truth is we don't until we learn how to look at this thing cognitively and how to intercede. And this is what this call is about, is to perhaps give you choice as to whether you let the emotion run you or whether are you the emotion or do you have the emotion? Think about that a moment. Are you the emotion, or do you have an emotion? Do you have the emotion? Are you your car, or do you have a car? You get it? You can trade your car. You can trade your dining room table. You're not it. So there's no reason to be the emotion. It's to acknowledge that you have it. Well, this is a big challenge, too. I mean, I think if we had 2 hours, we could really handle this topic because we'd open the phones. And the first question I would ask is, why is it not nice for you to be angry? Why don't you like being angry? Well, people say, well, it's not nice. I shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't it means other people they'll take advantage of me. They'll know that they got to me, that my blood pressure will go up. The doctor said that I could have a heart attack if so there are reasons. Back in the 70s or 80s, a phenomenal book written by Dr. Theodore Isaac Rubin called The Angry Book. It was typically about the emotion of anger. And we apply this thinking to all emotions. So what I just went through, and perhaps many of you could add more to these reasons that you shouldn't be angry, or what he calls sealers, S-E-A-L-E-R-S, sealers, S-E-A-L-E-R-S. It's like a coating it's like the urethane coating you put down on the floor to seal the wood. These beliefs seal you from feeling the emotion because you have the belief that it's not good for you, that it's unhealthy for you. Hey, this is also true about the other emotions up here, the love. Hey, why shouldn't you feel love? Hey, huh? Why? Because you set yourself up for the big letdown if you let yourself feel it, huh? It's got to be a jerk anyway, right? You'll be disappointed. So we have beliefs that we shouldn't feel emotions. So we try to go through, and it's so silly. It's so stupid. We put all this energy into not feeling them that all we do is get exploded by them, be at the effect of them, be destroyed by them, ruin our lives by them, let our egos kill us. That's what happens when we do not allow ourselves to feel the emotion. Well, that's just anger. So, all right. Now, you're probably saying, this guy's wacko. He's saying I should feel angry. What's he going to tell me next? I should feel depressed? Absolutely. Feel it. But again, there are reasons why shouldn't you feel depressed? Robin, can you come up with any reasons why one shouldn't feel depressed? Why shouldn't you ever feel depressed?
Well, I believe in God, and I believe God has a plan for my life to work all things together for good. So that's one reason for me not to feel depressed.
So it's counter to God's plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
God has a better plan.
All right.
Yeah.
Why else shouldn't you feel depressed?
I loved what you said about we are not our thoughts or emotions. We can choose. I mean, basically, you can choose what you think. You have to practice that. It's not easy, and you can choose which thoughts lead to certain feelings, and you can take control of them, and so we can. I mean, depression can be overwhelming. I have been.
But why
severely
shouldn't you?
depressed.
Why shouldn't you feel depressed? Why is it not good? Why should you not feel depressed?
Well, when you are depressed, it's pretty hard not to. You need to get better, and sometimes we can't do it without help. But if you catch it early, you can. There are things you can do to mitigate it.
Well, there are many people that believe that they shouldn't be depressed because they'll be the rotten apple in the barrel.
Oh, okay.
Why should you be depressed? You still have this. You still have your house. You still have a television, or you still have a chair to sit in. You still have 2 arms, 2 legs. You still have 2 eyes. You still have a body. How about all the people that are crippled and have nothing? Or how about that? So, it's like, why should you be happy? Because there are so many people who are unhappy. You shouldn't allow yourself to be happy. So we have these beliefs that seal us and keep us from feeling these emotions.
Right.
And when you do not allow yourself to feel the emotion, study after study after study says depression leads to a depressed immune system, cancer, and other diseases that a depressed immune system, it's like eating sugar. You may as well be eating sugar if you're depressed, because the same result as sugar depresses your immune response as well. So we have these feelings. So here I am saying, allow yourself to feel it. Now, when you actually, here's the good news. The good news. Here's the good news, because we need good news, right? When you actually allow yourself to feel the emotion, it disappears. It disappears like that. But it's our fear of. Did you ever have a situation where you're afraid of what was going to happen? An event was coming up, and you worried and worried and worried about it, and then when it finally got there, it was no big deal. No big deal. But it's like that with emotions. When we allow ourselves to feel the emotion, they go away. But how do you do that? The key is to acknowledge, I'm depressed. Now, what do you like? Now, how do you feel about it? Well, you acknowledge. Your brain has all these sealers up here. Your brain has all these beliefs so I'm depressed. I acknowledge I dislike it. I hate it. This is a terrible feeling. It sucks. It's terrible. Now, let's program the brain. Let's use that incredible brain. What do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about it? You want to stay depressed? You tell your brain. Would you like to be creative and get your way out of it? Would you like to find an answer? Would you like to move on? Would you like to learn from the experience? Would you write a dozen different responses that would be pertinent for you? These are option statements. You're not saying, I'm depressed, I shouldn't be here, and I don't want to be depressed, I hate it, and I shouldn't be depressed. You're saying, I am depressed, I dislike it. Nobody likes depression. I've shared, I had a bout with it 13 years ago. It was after I had beaten the parasites, and I was sure they were history. And then Lyme disease just about took my life. And I thought my thinking was, Christ, all this time, 15 years to get my life back, comfortably from skin parasites, and now the Lyme disease is just going to poof it away. I was depressed, and it's not easy dealing with it. And what I found, and there are things that you can do while you're in the experience of being depressed. I had a little 2x3 photograph that my uncle had given me of my little niece, 2 years old, the Chinese adopted little girl. She's so beautiful. That photograph provided energy. I mean, there are many things you can do. We talked about grounding a few weeks ago, getting a grounding blanket and grounding your body, nutritional. These are physical things that you can do. Our buddy coach, Barbara, had forwarded me a video of this specialist, neuroscientist, who was going through different breathing techniques. Wow, there were so many breathing techniques. I mean, I had no idea that, since the 30 years ago when we learned how to do basic deep breathing, there were so many different breathing techniques. But he shared that, for instance, with depression, 2 quick inhales. Bring the energy up. So what you want to do is do anything that you can do that contribute to the creation of serotonin. The late Dr. Dwyer said just by doing a good act for somebody, just by doing a favor, or being the Boy Scout and walking the lady across the street, just doing a good, picking up groceries for somebody, brings serotonin, creates it. So these are the physical things that you can do. You can use these as the crutches, but here is the important part. I'm depressed. I dislike it. I hate it. I'd like you, my creative brain, to find a solution to my issue, to my problem, and move beyond it. Because if you look back to what created depression, if it is these organisms, well, then they are over your head, and you are like a puppet on a string being bounced around by Columbella, Morgellons growing out of your skin. You're giving them more and more power. When you acknowledge that, okay, I'm at the effect of them, I dislike them, and I like you, my creative brain, boom. You find answers. You find solutions. You find creativity. For when you're stuck in depression, there is no creativity. None. And while my book, it's phenomenal. It's the greatest piece of literature you're going to find about the subject out there. And please give me 5 stars, everybody, because no matter how many doctors you've spoken with, no matter how many experts you've talked to, you will have learned more in 20 pages of reading that book than you will have from any of them. But nevertheless, it's not going to do it for you. It's only an instrument. Robin will share with you. She's read the book many times. She has Post-its all over the book, and she steps outside of the book. She's contributed a lot to this program. The people who get their lives back use the book as a stepping stone and use their creativity to create their own key to unlock getting their lives back. So, depression, frustration, uncertainty, confusion, these are all emotions, and we didn't even talk about, many of these, the anger, the frustration, elicit the fight or flight response, which further interferes by creating an epinephrine, adrenaline, not an epinephrine, adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol. And these elevate and brings up the homeostatic level, raises our basic homeostatic baseline, goes higher and higher. We adjust to more and more levels of stress to the point where the slightest little thing can be like the straw that breaks the camel's back. So this is why we do stress management, basic stress management techniques in this segment. We do either deep breathing. And you know why you're doing the deep breathing? While you're doing the tapping exercise, which we're going to do shortly, and then we're going to open the phone lines and let everybody share. Hey, you know, bottom line is I've covered a lot of material in this. You may want to listen to it 4 or 5 times. You may want to write it down. It's taken me 15 years to put this together. So I don't expect you to become experts at it overnight. And when you manage your feelings, they no longer control you. Now, when we come to stress management, there are 2 approaches. One approach is to control. Control is acknowledging that something is controlling you. And the more you generally try to control something, the more frustrating it gets because you don't get the desired results. So when we're looking at managing stress, we're looking at more with flowing with it. So we have our ups and we have our downs, and it's not that we have to maintain a certain level or control like you would by putting your automobile on speed control, on auto control, you know, to keep it at that certain. We allow ourselves to go up and allow ourselves to go down with the goal and direction of our intelligence to always bring ourselves down to a homeostatic level, so that by you utilizing these techniques that we share with you, that your body creates the catecholamines, which are the norepinephrine and epinephrine hormones that allow your body to regenerate. So what should we do today, Robin? Breathing or?
I think we should do tapping, but I wanted to say Chris texted me. I think this is great. He said, fear, false evidence appearing real.
Wonderful. And there's a book by Jampowski called Love is Letting Go of
Fear.
Yes. Love is letting go of fear. It all comes together. It really does. So let's do tapping. You go take us through tapping, and then you have a good song for us?
Well, we could do the Happy Self song, or I could do another song. If you...
Okay, the Happy Self song. All right. So, okay, Robin's going to take us through the tapping exercise. Those of you, this is going to be on YouTube. Like I said, please look at it over and over, take notes, because if you can manage what I've shared with you, you've got the key to managing your life from now on. Okay.
I just wanted to say the thing about tapping that I love and that goes with everything you've been saying is that the first step is acceptance. Accepting this is where I'm at, right? And then dealing with it, and then letting go of the hopelessness of it. But the first step is acceptance. And in tapping, you're literally saying to yourself, I hate this. This situation stinks, but I'm going to love myself in it. And just acknowledging that it's a bad situation, but that you're going to love yourself changes things. It's like a paradigm shift of your thought process.
You're absolutely right. Actually, the first step is observance, to observe without judgment, to observe. and then accepts, and then create direct change, creativity. So thank you. Take us through the tapping.
Okay. So for those of you who haven't done tapping before, we are going, well, first pick something that is either stressing you out or causing depression in your life that you feel is the cause, and rate it with a number from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, 1 being the least. Okay, but just pick one thing. You can do this multiple times with one thing and then go to another thing. Once you have that one thing, I have one thing in my mind, we're going to use 2 fingers, our first and second fingers of our hands. And the first thing we're going to do actually is a karate chop on the side of one hand with the other hand, gently. And then we're going to take those 2 fingers and we're going to tap on top of our heads, above our eyes, on the side of our eyes, under our nose, under our chin, and under our neck. Okay, and we're going to tap gently about 6 or 7 times in each place. And I'm going to say a few sentences as we're tapping, and you can think them or say them out loud to yourself as well. And then at the end, I recommend getting a glass of water because you're releasing toxic thoughts and toxins in your body, and water helps flush them out. So everyone, think about something that's depressing you, scaring you, stressing you out. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the karate chop first, and I'm going to say, this situation is terrifying, but I'm going to love myself in the midst of it. And then we're going to tap on the top of our head and say, I hate this. It's discouraging, but I'm going to love myself in the midst of it. And then above our eyebrows, no matter what happens, I will love myself and respect myself in the midst of this situation. On the sides of your eyes, this really stinks, but I will love and honor and respect myself in the midst of the situation. Under your eyes, no matter what happens or comes at me, in this situation, I will love and respect myself. Under your nose, I will be patient and kind to myself no matter what. Under your chin, this is a bad situation, but I will love and respect myself in the middle of it. Under your neck. And then right there, just gently rub. It might be a little sore. Take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And then a glass of water if you've got one. Hopefully you lowered that number a little bit.
Thank you, Robin. Love yourself. This whole program is far away from skin parasites, but really, it all goes together. Loving yourself. I'm not speaking out of the air. I have 2 books on Amazon. One is called My Dog Got Run Over by a Rainbow. It's about building self-esteem. It goes through all of what I shared earlier, plus a lot more, co-authored by Dr. Joe Vitale. There's also a book, another one in the series, the second one in the series called Confident Rich. Love your new self, hate your old self. It's about loving you. It's amazing. I've been in I can't say clinical practice because I've never went through the degrees and got my degrees in psychology like psychiatrists do. You know, I never got my medical degree either, but believe me, my approach to dealing with skin parasites, we learned the last couple of weeks, is far away from any medical approach on the planet, and it works. Our approach does work. We have many living testaments to that. But it's amazing how many people really do not love themselves. It, you know, can be really, okay, they hate the way they're, I know, I was one of them. I thought I was the ugliest creature on earth. My ears were too big and stuck out, you know, and I never lived up to my expectations as to what I looked like or thought I should look like, you know, so we either hate the way we look or appearance, or we hate the way we handle ourselves. So there's three aspects to us. Physical, so we either hate our physical being or physical appearance, or we hate our emotional being, our emotional self, and we criticize ourselves and being emotionally inept, and then we have the spiritual aspect, and that's a lot of confusion for most people as to whether or not they're worthy of whatever in life. So loving yourself can be a challenge. If it is a challenge for you, you definitely want to pick up my book and go through it. We can even have segments on here if it's pertinent. So anyway, do the tapping exercise. Tune in to the video that's going to be on YouTube so that you can see Robin do it. That's actually, I have to admit, I didn't know what it was about until I saw her doing it on the video and understood where the fingers go and where the tapping is. So we got a Happy Cells song here, and we'll do it.
I have a different song also.
Oh, you do?
If you want, yeah.
All right. What's the song for the day?
I was thinking, "Don't Worry About a Thing," because it's called Three Little Birds. That's a reggae song. Don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right.
Okay. Can we do it in memory of Diane?
Sure.
Okay.
Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, sunshine my doorstep, singing sweet songs, melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry, sing it with me, about a thing. 'Cause every little thing's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright. It's gonna be alright.
Thank you. I like the flip that you did there with that ukulele. That was great. All right. You got to watch the video to see her. You got to watch the video to see this wonderful lady. She's fantastic. Very talented. And don't worry. that reminded me, there's a book way, an old book, Dale Carnegie. Remember Dale Carnegie? How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And the essence of the entire book is this. Look at your options. Look at the worst possible thing that can possibly happen and accept that as a potential reality. And when you accept that as a potential reality, then everything else that happens is like icing on top of the cake. So, thank you, Robin. Thank you. Let's let's open the phones. Anybody would like to share your experiences? We'd love to hear from you.
I do have a question.
Richard, do I stop the recording now?
No.
Okay.
Is this also a question period, or is that later on?
We're going to do the questions about the skin parasites later. At this point,
Okay.
We're just going to do sharing about stress, any questions they had about things that I may have said or clarity that they'd like, or your experiences. Have you come close to ending your life? If you'd like to share that as well. Anyone like to share?
I just want to thank you, Richard. You've encouraged me, and I appreciate that.
And your name?
Denise.
Janine, from where?
No,
Denise with a D. I'm sorry.
Denise, okay.
Denise. Yeah. I'm from Michigan.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
So keep coming back.
Robin,
yes?
Yeah, Robin is phenomenal. You just speak from the heart also, and I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you contributing and being here with us. Anyone else like to share or take a moment?
Hi, this is Gwen from
Hi,
Maryland.
Gwen. Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Gwen.
Hi, you guys. What you guys do has changed my life. I'm alive because of following or trying to follow to what you're doing and making sure that eating right and doing everything. But I just want to say thank you, because when I get attacked in my head, in my brain, and different organs in my body, I just remember what I'm supposed to be doing, and I go back and do that. When the depression comes, I feel so badly, but then I remember what I have to do. And I just want to thank you, because I know there are many people that are actually suffering, and many people that are doing well right now just because of what you're doing. And I thank you. You just can't imagine how much I appreciate this whole program.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate being here for you and appreciate you coming every week. Thank you. It's what keeps us going, really. Anyone else like to share?
Hi, this is Candy. I just wanted to tell you hi.
Hi.
Hi, Candy.
Hi. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hanging in.
Keep coming back. We love you.
Love you, too.
Anyone else like to share? Hello? Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Yes?
Oh, no.
Hi, anyone like to share? Ask a question about the topic? All right, I guess.
I have
yes.
something I wanted to say, hon.
Yes.
When she was saying about not hating yourself and loving yourself, I needed to hear that, because I stand in the mirror and look at myself and tell myself that I'm worthless, that nobody's ever going to want me again, and that I'm no good, and because of the way I'm feeling physically, and I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, and so I keep telling myself in the mirror that, And I know this sounds crazy, but I've even slapped myself as hard as I can in the face when I get really toxic, telling myself that I hate you. So I really need to hear her say that about telling yourself that you love yourself no matter what is happening.
I'm really glad you're sharing this, because there's one thing I forgot. And that is, you know, your brain is incredible. It's an incredible force. It's like the most advanced computer. It'll take probably a century before they can come close to creating a cyber brain that like we have. And your brain likes to be right. You know, you've gotten the practice of telling yourself that, oh, you're ugly and nobody's ever going to want you and that you're worthless and so forth. You know, your brain has adopted this as wholly as you know, and come up with all these reasons. You know, you substantiated it. So the last thing we ever want to do is invalidate. We never ever want to invalidate our brain. And we never want to call ourselves stupid or dumb or anything like that. So if you can imagine, for instance, that you have a problem and you're discussing it with a close friend, and you're asking your friend for advice. So your friend says to you, well, if it were me, I would do this, this, and that. And you think of for a moment, and you think that's the worst and the stupidest advice you ever had, and it would be the worst thing you could do. What would you do with your friend? Would you say, that's stupid, you're dumb? Huh? Would you do that? No, you'd lose your friend. You would lose your friend. Your friend would get all upset. You would say thank you. You would say thank you, and I'll consider it, and walk away. Well, have you ever thanked your brain? Have you ever thanked that wonderful brain that you have? So it's got this opinion that you're worthless and you're ugly and nobody's ever going to accept you and so forth. Thank you, my wonderful brain. You have this idea that I'm worthless, that I hate myself. Thanks for your opinion. What would you like? I prefer to love myself. I prefer to feel the energy of the universe and use that to build creativity to accomplish my goal. So that's what I mean by directing your brain. You are the master of your brain. It's important to simply know how to talk with your brain. So thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you so much, because that's an important part. So your brain has opinions about you shouldn't feel depressed. Thank you, my intelligence. You feel that I shouldn't be depressed because I'm the bottom of the barrel or nobody wants to be around me, or thanks for your opinion. I prefer to feel it, move through it, and you, my creative brain, solve my problems.
I remember there used to be this comic strip called The Trouble with Brains, and it was really funny. Well, it was like what you're talking about, because the comic strip was all about this guy, and his brain would keep telling him this horrible stuff, and he would spank his brain and then ignore it, basically.
Right. No big deal about it. You know, thank you, intelligence. I mean, I say thank you, brain, but it could be thank you, my intelligence. Thank you, my wonderful being. Thank you, my higher self. Whatever you want to call it. You name your brain. So thank you so much for sharing that. Anyone else like to share?
Yes. This is Deborah. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
Hi.
I years ago read a book exactly on that subject. It was along the lines of what to say when you talk to yourself, and it's about looking in the mirror and reaffirming and replacing any negative feelings or thoughts with positive. And it really was very helpful for me in a lot of times when I feel like I'm down on myself.
Yes.
I go back to that, and I figure going back to looking myself in the mirror and tell me all the positive things about myself.
Well, I moved beyond that. I moved beyond calling things positive or negative. I moved to calling them simply different energy levels without any judgment as to whether they're good, bad, right, or wrong. This goes back to Wayne Dyer's work, the late Wayne Dyer, his first book, Your Erroneous Zones, getting into rights, wrongs, plus, minus, and pluses, and things like that. And so just look at it as different energy levels. Do I want to be in this energy level? How do I shift from this energy level to another energy level? Another book I have on Amazon is How to Be Happy. I mean, it's like imagine that you are an atom sitting on top of a silver dollar, and being that atom sitting on top of that silver dollar is pretty big. It's hard to see even to the edge, and the only thing that you know sitting on top of that silver dollar is how to be depressed and angry and upset and mean. That's the only thing. You don't know how to be happy. You want to be happy, but you can't be happy. That's all you see when you're sitting on top of that silver dollar. So about being happy is a choice, and that's to flip the dollar over. We all have the ability to flip it over to the other side and see the happiness, see the joy, see the love. But until we know we can do that, we're stuck. We're the atom sitting on top of that silver dollar and can see nothing but frustration, anger, and unhappiness, and reasons why we should be there. So thank you very much for sharing. Anyone else like to share?
Share. This is Jenny, State New York.
Hi.
Hi, Jenny.
News about your friend, and you know, I felt like that days is just, you know, be better off to be here anymore, you know, and it breaks my heart, you know, that to suffer that way to her.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
You know, it's unfortunate she didn't reach out to me. You know, unfortunately, many people, instead of reaching out, they get into the thing that they don't matter anymore, and that nobody cares, and forget that there are people that do care. And they may even think that, well, even if somebody does care, there's still nothing they can do, you know. So it's such a sad situation, and there are so many people in that situation faced with the same choices. Thank you.
It's unfortunate that those kinds of thoughts, you know, and the depression, like you said, of hating yourself, condition worse.
Right. It's a spiral downward.
Yeah, because I notice when I go down that rabbit hole, I start, you know, and laugh when I happy, and I'm not like, I feel better. Much stuff. I really feel better, and it's, you know, it's amazing that you can make yourself worse by your own.
Yes. I've often said the brain is like nuclear energy. It doesn't care how we use it. It doesn't care whether we use it to blow ourselves up and out of the universe or whether we use it in nuclear medicine to get well. It's powerful. It doesn't care how we use it. It's up to us to learn how to use our incredible brain. It doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't come with a manual.
One thing that helped me, I went through, and as you guys were talking, I remembered because I had forgotten. I went through this.
Yes?
One exercise they told me to do was take a picture of myself when I was a little girl, because something terrible happened to me when I was a little girl. Picture on the mirror, and when I brush my teeth at night or in the morning, look at her and say, I love you. And I thought, okay, I can do that. That's no big deal. But when I actually tried to do it, I couldn't do it. I couldn't say it. And I was like, this is so weird. I can't even say it, And I struggled, and I finally did get to the point where it finally took a lot to look at that picture and to say, I love you, and actually to mean it,
You're very right. It's a very big difficulty. Our goal is to love ourselves on the worst of our bad hair days. Bad hair day could be everything, anything. All of us have goals in life. Tony Robbins, as I mentioned earlier, has made his career about attaining goals. And that's wonderful. For me, it seems that life is more about our goals that fall through or the plans that fall through than it is about the goals that getting there. It's about the frustrations. I mean, nobody ever had the goal of acquiring these skin parasites. On your way to the opera, you catch skin parasites. So, thank you.